What's up, HyperFast Nation? On this episode of the show, we are taking a look at 5 reasons that could cost you a listing. Stand by for this episode of the HyperFast Show. All right, welcome back to the HyperFast Agent Show. Today, we are looking at the top 5 reasons of why you may have lost a listing. And it's happened to all of us, even the best. And, every time you lose a listing, it's a great opportunity to really self-reflect, ask yourself what could be better and improve. And, by the way, don't just do it when you lose the listing, right? It's easy, of course, to go back and analyze, or back in my Navy days, they called it a hot wash, right? After an event, an evolution, a drill. It's easy to do that when things didn't go well. It's even more important, though, I think, to do it even when they did go well. Because just because you got the listing, it doesn't mean you did everything right. So let's look at 5 things right now that can cause you to lose a listing. And just remember, even if you win, it's a good thing to go back and check. Did you do all of these things? All right, so number 1, the first thing that might cause you to lose a listing is if you do not pre-qualify them up front. So what does this entail? Well, you really want to focus your time, your efforts on going on listing appointments on sellers that are pre-qualified, sellers that are actually motivated to sell, not just ones that maybe want to sell, but ones that are really motivated. All right, because going on a listing appointment, it's not just, an hour that you spend at the house. It is potentially, another couple hours preparing for it, doing all your pre-listing work, running an analysis, going there and back, the follow-up, all that, right? It adds up to several hours. So you want to make sure you are giving those hours, those time away from family, friends, loved ones, things you like doing or growing your business, right? That's precious, valuable time. You want to make sure you're spending it wisely, which means pre-qualify your sellers before you go on the listing appointment. How do you do that? Well, you need to establish timing and motivation, right? Why do they want to sell, right? Is it, someone that maybe would sell if they get a ridiculous price? Is it someone that's just thinking about starting to look for their next home? These are examples of people that they might sell, but they're definitely not motivated to get it done in the next 30, 60, 90 days, right? Compare that to people that had a job transfer. They were trying to sell, but it expired. Maybe they've got a kid on the way. Maybe they've got a divorce. Maybe they have in-laws moving in, or they have to downsize soon because they had something medically, right? So you really want to, in that first call, establish timing and motivation and ask them, hey, if you do sell your home, just out of curiosity, where are you going to go next? And then, of course, it's going to take another 2 or 3, maybe more follow-up questions to really figure out why, right? So you got to get to the motivation, you got to get the why, and you got to get to the timing. Mr. and Mrs. Seller, if we got you an amazing offer and the price and terms, were to your liking and acceptable, when's the ideal time for you to move? Ask these questions before you go on the listing appointment, so you avoid wasting time with people that don't have to sell and are not really motivated. All right, number 2, second reason that you might lose a listing is you did not do a pre-listing packet. All right, one of the things that I think helps is if you send a pre-listing packet. This should give an overview of who you are, right? Your professional and personal resume. It should give an overview of your home selling process. All right, how do you sell homes? It should have your track record or your teams or brokers if you have to lean on that. It should give them questions, right? Things to ask other agents if they're interviewing other agents, right? How do you avoid losing to a friend? Why they shouldn't necessarily go with the listing agent that just gives them the highest price. Questions to ask agents, right? What's your percentage of home list price to sold price? Percentage of homes that sell versus expire? Percentage of homes that go under contract and don't close? What's your average days on market? What how many homes have you sold in the last 12 months? How many homes in this neighborhood have you sold in the last 12 months? So you want to guide them in case you're interviewing with other agents, which hopefully you find out in the pre-qualifying stage, but you want to guide them on things to ask other real estate agents, because most real estate agents aren't going to be prepared to answer those, right? So that should be part of your pre-listing packet. If you offer any unique value propositions, those should be in there, and you definitely should. And it needs to go ahead of time, if possible, in a printed out on nice paper, delivered in some type of FedEx envelope or something like that. If for some reason you can't get that done, you can send it electronically, although hard copy is best, right? But sometimes maybe it's a really quick turnaround from when you book the appointment to when they want to meet. So make sure they have a pre-listing packet. All right, the third reason that you might lose your listing is you have no unique value propositions. These come in many shapes and forms. All right, I think I'll go over a few that we use. We train on a lot of these, both in our HyperFast Agent coaching program and the agents that we have in our group at eXp Realty. But unique value propositions, a cancellation guarantee where they can cancel with 24 hours written notice if they are unhappy with anything, right? A communication guarantee where you will communicate to them and answer their questions on their preferred timeline with their preferred form of communication, whether that's text, phone, or email, or right. And you can offer, what happens if you do not meet those. I like to do a $500 credit at closing or $500 donation to a charity of their choice. You can offer a home sale guarantee. There's many different ways, shapes, and forms that these come in. It can be a performance-based guarantee where your commission is on the line. It can be an actual guarantee to get them an offer on their house. It can be a guarantee where if their house doesn't sell, you will buy it at a negotiated price. And we have a whole course basically on how to do that. If you're wondering, on the HyperFast Agent Academy, we also teach it to our eXp agents as well. So a lot of different unique value propositions. Those are just a few examples. These are things that really make you stand out. And if you don't have that, you are at a disadvantage. All right, the fourth reason why you might lose a listing is if you actually have weak presentation skills, right? What can go wrong in your listing presentation? Well, do you show up on time, right? There's the basic things like, do you show up on time? Do you greet them properly? Do you assert control, right? I like to walk in and tell them, hey, I'm going to take a quick tour of the property and then the home, and then we can go sit at the kitchen table and go over our marketing plan. You have to assert control of the process up front. Do you revisit their timing and motivation during the listing presentation? If it's an expired listing, do you ask questions about what went wrong? During the previous listing, what they would like to see better next time, right? What they think went right. So ask these types of questions to discover what you need to do to get the listing. And then finally, a lot of real estate agents do a good job on the presentation, and then they are weak on the closing questions, right? Do you actually ask them if they feel comfortable moving ahead with you? If they say they need to think about it, do you just let that go, or do you follow up, right? If they say they need to think about it, oftentimes there's one or two objections that they are not telling you. So if you do not probe further, you're not going to get a chance to deal with those objections. I've had good success recently when someone tells me, they need to think about it. I say, okay, I understand. A lot of times, usually when people say that, it means there's one or two things that I didn't really do a good job answering, and it would just make it hard for me to leave and feel comfortable tonight, knowing that I probably didn't answer something that's on your mind still. So if there were one or two things that are still unanswered in your mind or are still making you uncomfortable moving ahead, what would they be? Right, you need to ask that level of question to get it out of them, and then you can deal with the objections and go for the close again. Now, if that does not work and you cannot get them to sign, they're not ready to move forward, that leads us to the fifth reason why you might lose a listing, and that is if you walk out of there without a signed agreement and you have poor follow-up. Follow-up, I've always said, should meet three criteria. It should be early, often, and aggressive. Right? You need to follow up right away. You need to follow up repeatedly. And your follow-up, again, needs to revisit closing questions. Like, are you ready to move forward? Has X, Y, and Z happened? If they told you X, Y, and Z needed to happen. Wanted to touch base with you and see if you're ready to move forward now, right? You have to continually follow up, continually probe, continually ask closing questions. All right, so those are the 5 reasons that I think a lot of agents should look at after every listing appointment, even the ones that you do sign, but especially when you lose. Although, like I said in the beginning, evaluate your wins just as hard as your losses, right? In fact, maybe even harder, because sometimes when you win, it masks things that you didn't do well or that you left out or forgot. So don't get lazy just because you have won. All right, I hope that helps you guys go out and secure more listings and have a higher closing percentage. As always, please share this episode with other people that would benefit from it. Leave us comments. We love that. And if you are an agent that wants more coaching, more training, and wants to help build a team, or even better, build a revenue share group by partnering with Carrie and I at eXp Realty, we would love to have that conversation with you. All you need to do is text me on my cell phone, 703-638-4393. Again, that's 703-638-4393. When we bring agents over to eXp, and we have partners now in, I think, almost 20 states, we help you, of course, onboard and thrive in the eXp system and use all the benefits and resources that eXp has to offer. But we also give you all of our coaching that you'll find at HyperFast Agent for free, additional weekly trainings and Zoom. So we do a whole lot of other things to help you succeed, because you're truly a partner with us. We want you to sell more homes. We want you to grow your team. We want you to build your own revenue share group so that you can have recurring income to take care of you and your family and just make a bigger impact. So if you're interested in learning more, again, text 703-638-4393. Thank you for tuning in to this episode of the HyperFast Show.